Hi everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. We're inside the film studios and we're going to be talking to this lady here who was hiding somewhere. This is the actual crime scene, as you can see by the outline on the floor there. I think we've looked at everything, but I will just double check before we speak to her because that was in the last episode. Yeah, it looks all good, so let's see if she's got anything to say. We spoke to her about all that. So I think, were we actually going back to Oldbag? I think we might have been, to be honest. Let's just show her this badge. I feel like we should get into the habit of doing this. Any thoughts about this? Sorry, I don't really want to think too much about what happened just yet. Okay, fine. Doesn't really make sense. But yeah, I think actually we were going back to Oldbag, weren't we, to confront her about something. Anything else to say here? There is not. Back to Oldbag we go. It's interesting that you can't just go from like one location to everywhere. You have to sort of like systematically go back. So you have to come like out of that studio to here, then go back to the gate. You can't just go straight to the gate. Okay, here we go. October the 16th, Global Studios main gate. What? You're still here? Really? You look as though you've seen a ghost. Oh, by the way, I've heard that apparently there's like a Phoenix Wright stage show or like musical or something in Japan, which sounds absolutely nuts. I've not seen any footage or anything of it, but I'm going to have to look it up to see if there's any videos on YouTube or anything. But yeah, apparently like that's a thing. It sounds wild. Sorry, didn't need to be said there, but yeah, apparently if you didn't know, that's a thing. Let us talk to her then. Okay, assistant's claim. What? I saw that suspicious look on your face. I wanted to ask you again about yesterday. You came here at 1 PM, correct? And the estimated time of Hammer's death was 2:30. Are you sure that Powers was the only one to go through here between those times? Sure as can be. But we have a witness who thinks there was someone from outside here that day. What? Are you absolutely sure you were here watching the whole time? ... Ma'am? Who was it? Who told you that? Who dares question me? Jesus. Apparently, like, this lady's gonna get absolutely nuts when we go to, like, trial as well. I think Microcat was saying that, so God knows what that's gonna be like. Eek! Alright, you better tell me quick, you spiky head cretin. I'm trying to read this fast, because, like, sometimes she does this, like, dialogue skippy thing, so... Someone's been complaining about the work I do, eh? We were just talking to the assistant in Studio 1. Ah, she's not even a full-time employee. All you young'uns are like that nowadays, running your mouths, well, when I was young, blah, 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 and you think about respected elders. Oh, my God. Did she die? No, she left. Oh, my God. I just can't keep up with the text, sorry. Well, Nick, this is our chance to do what we can without her looking over our shoulders. Okay, so now we can go into here maybe and have a look around. The computer that runs the studio security cameras. Nick, maybe we can see that photo of Powers with this computer. Yeah, maybe. Should I try the computer? Nah, let's leave it alone. Absolutely, let's try it. Why even ask? Okay, let's give it a try. You know how to work these things, Nick? Looks like I just have to enter in a few numbers. Let's see, first I need the date of the... What's that like squeaking noise? Is it a bird? It looks like the... Okay, it's a bird. It looks like the camera turned on at 1 PM that day. 1. That was when the security lady arrived at the guard station. Please enter the number of the security camera. Oh, I had a feeling, didn't I? A few episodes ago I wrote it down in the notes. Aha, well, okay, let's grab that. So it was ST1307. I am glad I wrote that down. I wonder what happens if you do the other ones. Maybe they just don't show anything. Let's do this one and then let's try one of the other ones, shall we? See, maybe there's different cameras. There, entered. Hey, it printed out the data for that day. Let's see what we got. Okay, yeah, so it's the costume, as I theorised, so we don't know that that's him. Huh? How is this a picture of Will Powers? Well, he is the one that always wears the suit. I guess that's why the security lady thought it was him. I don't imagine the detective was very happy with this photo as evidence. Something's printed on the back. Huh? October the 15th, 2 PM, photo 2. What does that mean? Well, it's probably the person coming back out, right? Maybe there's more photo data from that day. Nope, that's the only one in the computer. Oh. So this was at 2 p.m. But it said the camera came on at 1 p.m. So there was obviously a photo 1 which has been erased or something. Hey, Nick! Can't we use this photo as evidence for the trial? Yeah. We'll put that security lady in her place with this. I mean, it's entirely possible that photo number 1 does show powers. We don't know that it doesn't. Right, we'll put her in her place. Hey, that's what I said. Anyway, let's show her this photo and see what she says. Wait, let's not. Why not? It's never a good idea to reveal your hand to the enemy too soon. Nick, you're craftier than I gave you credit for. Why, you could be the next evil magistrate. No thanks. Hey, why do I have to be the villain? Relax, it was just a joke. So, are we done for today? I don't know. I think this photo is what we needed for the trial. Still, it'd be better if we had some idea who the real killer was. Maybe it really is the security lady. Could you imagine? That'd be funny. I'm guessing it's not her. Oh, to be continued. Okay, so that's going to be the end of day 1, isn't it? So, okay, saving. Let's make a new save, and we will carry on. October the 18th, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 4. Oh, we're in courtroom 4 today. Looks exactly the same. Oh no, it's Edgeworth again. Are you kidding me? Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. The prosecution is ready, Your Honour. The defence is ready, Your Honour. Very well. Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement, please. So is Edgeworth just going to be the guy for, like, every case? The prosecution will show the court that at 2:30 p.m. on October the 15th, the defendant, Mr. Will Powers, killed fellow actor Jack Hammer in Studio 1 of Global Studios. It is impossible for anyone else to have committed this heinous crime. The evidence presented during the trial will all point to this fact. I see. Very well. I would like to move on to some testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution may call its first witness. Very well. I call a most familiar face, Detective Gumshoe, to the stand. Well, I mean, it didn't go very well for Gumshoe the last time he was on the stand, so let's hope that is the case again. Okay. Detective, if you would briefly describe this case to the court. Yes, sir. I'll explain with the guide map here. To understand this case, it's important to grasp the layout of the studios, see? This here is the employee area. You can tell because it's flashing. The actors did a run-through of their action scenes during the morning here. Are we just going to ignore the grate? Apparently we're going to ignore the grate. This is the main gate to the studios. The security lady that works at the studios was here at 1 p.m. on that day. Past the security station there is gate, see? Past that are the studios. And here it is, Studio 1. This is the scene of the murder where the body was found. Now, on the day of the murder, October 15th, there were only 3 people here. Okay. The victim, Jack Hammer. The defendant, Will Powers. And a young woman, the production assistant. All the production staff were in the employee area until noon. So, I mean, it's entirely possible that Oldbag was somehow involved in this, because she was there at 1, right? So she was technically at the main gate. So she could have, like, snuck off. It's possible. I don't think so, necessarily, at this point, but it's possible. Then, after lunch, the victim, Jack Hammer, went to Studio 1. Right, after that, at 1 p.m, the security lady got to the guard station. Now, jump ahead to later that day, 5 p.m. The production staff came to Studio 1 to perform a rehearsal. Needless to say, the rehearsal was cancelled. Okay. So there's the wound. The time of death was 2:30 p.m. The samurai spear found lodged in the victim's chest was the murder weapon. Okay. That's the case in brief. Anyone like to hear that again? Should I listen to the whole thing again? I want to listen to it again just to make sure I've got all my timings and everything right. I'm sorry, could you describe that one more time? I should have known it would be you, pal. Fine. Once more for the mentally challenged lawyer. Hey! Hey, that's unnecessary. I feel personally attacked. Yeah, live it up while you can, Gumshoe. To understand this case, it's important to grasp the layout of the studio, see. This here is the employee area. Okay, so the employee area is where we've got that suspicious grate that someone could maybe have squeezed through, okay? The actors did a run-through of their action scenes during the morning here, so all the actors were in there in the morning. This is the main gate to the studios. The security lady that works at the studios was here at 1 PM, so before 1, she wasn't there. Past the security station, there's a gate, see? Okay. Past that are the studios. And here it is, Studio 1. We don't know anything about Studio 2, do we? That's the one where the bush was in the way, or like the tree, the fallen tree or something. This is the scene of the murder where the body was found. Now, on the day of the murder, October 15th, there were only 3 people here. The victim, the defendant, Will Powers, and a young woman, the production assistant. All the production staff were in the employee area until noon. Then after lunch, the victim, Jack Hammer, went to Studio 1. Right after that, at 1 PM, the security lady got to the guard station. Okay, so the victim went into Studio 1, then the security lady turned up, and she's saying that Powers did it because she saw on the camera that Powers also went to Studio 1, but from the image that we've seen, it was just someone in the samurai costume. 5 PM, the production staff came to Studio 1 to perform a rehearsal. Needless to say, the rehearsal was cancelled. Okay, so that's a long time. So whoever it was seems to leave around 2 PM because we had photograph number 2. So photograph number 1 is going to be key to this, right? Needless to say, the rehearsal was cancelled. The time of death was 2:30 PM. The samurai spear found lodged in the victim's chest was the murder weapon. Okay, so the samurai spear was the weapon. That's the case in brief. Anyone like to hear that again? No, I think we're good. Should we make him explain it a 3rd time? No, let's not. Skip. I think I can probably remember that. So, the murder weapon was a spear? How medieval. Okay, samurai spear added to the court record. Your Honour, this case is quite simple if you ask one question. And that question is, what did the security lady at the guard station see? Understood. Let's call this security officer to the stand. Oh, here we go, guys. Here we go. I really hope she doesn't rattle off just constant dialogue to the point where we can't keep up with it. Will the witness declare her name? ... My, aren't you a handsome fellow? Oh my god. Look at her face. I'm afraid I'm a bit flustered. Your name, please. Oh, dearie, no need for you to be embarrassed. Just call me Grandma. Jesus. Your name, please. Seems Edgeworth has a bit of trouble getting his witnesses to say their names. Wendy Oldbag, dearie. Oh, so Oldbag's a surname. Okay, so her first name is Wendy. So just call me Grandma. I spread my name. So even when I was young, I was an old bag. Blah, blah, blah. Still, how are the other children making fun of me? Believe it, but there was this boy, the captain of the thing. He called me an old bag, and I cried. Jesus Christ. Objection. I object to the witness's talkativeness. Yeah, hopefully that stops her. Objection sustained. The witness will refrain from rambling on the stand. Oh, please make sure that she carries on with that the whole way through. No rambling. I was just getting to the good part, dearie. Perhaps we can get to the testimony? Now, the witness was stationed at the main gate on the day of the murder, correct? Yes, see, I was. And to get to the scene of the murder, someone would have to pass you by. I'll pass by you. You know your stuff, dearie. ... You may begin your testimony. She sure is one hell of an old bag. Alright, witness's account. Here we go. Time to pay attention. On the day of the murder, I arrived at the guard station at 1 PM. Poor old Hammer and the rest had been doing a run-through there since the morning. Does that check out with what we were told by Gumshoe? Maybe, yeah, I think that does. I had some errands to run that morning. Anyway, it was 1 when I got to the guard station. That matches. I was at the main gate from then until 5. Now, the murder happened at 2:30 PM, right? So, photograph 2 would suggest possibly not. Because if there was a first photo, that would probably be whoever it was in the costume going to Studio 1. But then wasn't it at 2 that we saw photograph 2? I don't know, we'll have to maybe try and... Oh, yeah, okay. Interesting to me because a certain man walked right by me at 2 PM. So the question is that somebody coming back, or is it somebody going to the studio at 2? It's going to be important. It was Powers, that man right there, and he was heading towards the studio. You saw the defendant then? Very well. Let's begin the cross-examination. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honour. Okay, cross-examination time. So we already know that we can sort of disprove that it was Powers from what she was saying. She was saying that she saw who it was and it was Powers, right? But we've got the photo that shows that it's just someone in a samurai costume. So I imagine Edgeworth, being the tricky so-and-so that he is, has maybe got photograph one or, you know, some way of undermining that. But I think that's probably going to be key. But guys, we will cross-examine in the next episode. So as always, thank you very much for watching. A big thank you to my patrons Arcades Games, Wayne Nate, Terminally Nerdy, Paul from the Phantom Fellows, Lyle, Hobo, Numinous, Kumadim, Paul Leone, Flossie the Sheep, John Con 555, Chrissy, Paul James, and Zolties. And I'll see you next time.